This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of August 13, 2019 was included in a meeting notice sent to the Burlington County Times and the Courier Post on January 4, 2019, and advertised in such newspapers on January 6, 2019, and January 7, 2019, respectively. Posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 7, 2019, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Call this meeting to order with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a roll call, please?
I saw it.
Mayor Kashaki, Deputy Mayor Gilmore,
Here.
Mr. Costa,
Here.
Ms. Schneider,
Here.
Mr. Klaus,
Here.
I need an approval of the regular committee minutes of July 9th, 2019.
So moved?
Second.
And
Ms. Schneider,
Yes.
Mr. Klaus,
Here. Yes.
Mr. Costa,
I have to abstain.
and Deputy Mayor Gilmore.
Yes. Can I put two together? You answered, you got a little too ahead of me. An approval of the executive session minutes of July 9th, 2019, and an approval of special meeting minutes of July 16th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Klaus,
Yes.
Ms. Schneider,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Abstain.
Mrs. Gilmore,
Yes. Reports. We have the tax collector's report of July 2019, code enforcement report 2019, fire official July 2019, construction report July 2019, and the emergency services reports July 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Accept?
Second.
Mr. Costa,
Aye.
Mr. Klaus,
Yes.
Ms. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore,
Yes. This is the part of the meeting that is, we have open to the public for comments on agenda items only. Do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, close the comments. We have a couple of discussions or presentations this evening.
Okay, we have Lisa Giovanelli, the business administrator for RV Regional High School, and I'm sorry, the principal.
Joe Martin.
Joe Martin, thank you so much.
So I'd like to thank you for allowing us this opportunity to come and give information regarding our upcoming bond referendum. I don't know like where to stand. Like, should I be
Podium?
standing here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sorry. I'm not used to having my back to people. So we would like to thank you for allowing us to come present some information. We are having a bond referendum that a lot of people, are wanting to know what's going on. So we're doing about 25 to 27 public presentations. You can go on the website, they're all listed there. So tonight, Mr. Martin and I will be presenting the information, and if you have any questions at the end, just let us know, or as we're going along. Wanted to let everybody know, so it's Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, so it would be a bond referendum. Polling is at all the normal polling places, so wherever you normally poll for whatever district you're in, I think they're all here.
Yes.
So that makes it easy for Hainesport, right? That's how it is where I live. We're all in one spot. So we just wanted to go over just a little quick information and back information. So everything that has been put together in this referendum is coming from strategic planning that was done back in 2016. We had about 4, 5, 6 trying to think, strategic planning, we invited members of the community, some of the mayors participated, there were sending district superintendents, parents, administrators. It was a good representation of the community, and out of those meetings, we came up with the new mission and vision for the school, and we came up with 21 action plans. So this referendum is called Vision 2020, because that was our strategic plan, and this is from some of the action plans in there that the board would not be able to implement if we didn't go out to referendum, because they're big capital items that we couldn't fit within our regular budget. What we have fit in our regular budget, these are not due to us being fiscally irresponsible. That's my department. I take care of all the cash at the school. But we have really funded a lot of what we've decided to do in the action plans through our regular budget. So we are implementing next year a one-to-one. So each student in the district will be getting a device that they will be using every day. We decided on, after years, it was probably 2 years of discussion, the device will be a Mac Air. So those will be all rolled out next school year, and those are being absorbed into our regular budget. We do maintenance every year. If you've been to the school, we have done a new stadium, which was $5 million. We do roofs, we do carpeting, we do all the regular maintenance. So we're not coming in this bond referendum and asking for carpeting. We're not asking you to fix roofs. We've taken care of that. These are big ticket items that we cannot fit in the budget. Excuse me. You guys all have our PowerPoint presentation. So I just want to go over. So the main points of our referendum are safety, security, health, and wellness. Our school district, if anybody has been to the school, you walk up, you have the big, beautiful columns. You go in the school. We do have security guards. We have all that stuff. But we would really want a visitor management plan. And that's what this is, one part of this referendum. Currently, we did get a grant from Burlington County. The freeholders, we got a grant for $1 million. So this summer, and it actually should be done within the next 2 weeks, we're doing a security vestibule. So if you go to most of the elementaries around the community or any newer school, they have to have a security vestibule. That's built right into the architectural plans. And the way the schools are designed these days are everything where you have a lot of parent involvement or people coming in from the community and coming into the school. Everything is right up front of the school. Usually when you go in, you have, your attendance there. You might have the library there. Some people have the gym there. In the school I used to work at, it was like a diamond, and everything was in the front. So when we had parent events, all the parents could come in and they would be contained within a certain area, and they weren't going back to where the students were. That's what we're trying to do. It's hard to do when you have a 1931 building, or 37, to 2000. We have multiple errors of buildings. So we're trying to do that. So that first part is visitor management. We're going to take some of our key offices and move them up front. So you'll come in the front of the building, the security vestibule will be there. We have security that will check people in, and then you will not be able to get any further in the building. So we want to move attendance, which is in another part of the building, the nurse's office. We just want to keep everything in a central location. So that would be one part of this. So when you come in the building, you're contained to the main hallway. The second part of this is, those of you who have drove up to the school, we have those big, beautiful, it's a beautiful building. We have beautiful windows, but they're from 1937. Some of them are from 1950. The earliest or the latest that have been installed were probably 1999. So to go along with our safety and security, we need to upgrade the windows. Because it's nice that we have a security vestibule. You come in, we're going to take your ID, we're going to give you a T-pass, we're going to give you all this stuff. But if you drive up and it's over 60, the windows are open on the ground level. So it's tough to make. We were having people come in and check in, but they could actually just drive up and jump in a window and get into the school. It's been a concern for years, so that's something we would like to address in the referendum. The other part that goes along with that is we can do a lockdown, but if we lock down and some of our windows lock down, some of them don't go down, some of them don't go up, we would like to do climate control throughout the whole building. So that way, if we do a true lockdown, then we will be able to have, climate controlled for all the students. Everybody's going to be like, why now? Because we get that a lot. So why are you guys doing this now? This, again, it was part of the strategic plan. This is the only way that the school can really get these big ticket items done in a timely fashion. We could do them in the budget, but it would take 15 years. So do we really want to leave our security open for the next 15 years in this day and age? It's really tough to do that. So we are also, when we go out to referendum, we will receive 40% funding from the state for the projects. So the total of the whole project is $21.7 million. 40% funding that would come from the state brings the cost down to $13 million. The nice thing about our referendum is 100% of the 21 million, we're getting 40% of. A lot of times you can go out and some of the stuff you might be trying to put into your referendum or have renovated isn't covered. Everything that we've requested from the State Department of Ed has approved back at 100%. So, which is good, because you can lose money that way. So that would cover all the replacement items that we need. Mr. Martin, did I forget?
Yeah, please.
I feel like
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, community members. My name is Joe Martin. I'm the principal of the high school, wrapping up my fourth year this year, so I'm in my fifth. I was a 10-year teacher at RV2, and most importantly, I'm a proud member of Hainesport. I've been here since for 10 years now. When I taught at RV, I lived in Marlton, and I was so convinced by Rancocas Valley that I told my wife, no matter what, our kids are going to go to RV. So we found this town, Hainesport, we liked, and been very happy ever since then. So it's good to see some alumni in here today. We're really just here to present the biggest thing importantly is security, bringing our beautiful facility up to the 21st century. I mean, if we're just being very transparent here, it's just a horrible feeling in our gut whenever we watch the news and watch things happening out there with random shootings and what have you. And it's irresponsible as the principal, our superintendent, Dr. Heilig, and Lisa, and really all of us, to pull up Ridgeway or Jackson and see the windows open, because if you've been in the building, you know you can't keep the windows closed. May and most all of June and September, it's hard to learn. It's really, really, really hard to learn in there. But most importantly, a little anecdote here. Towards the end of the school year, we had a scare. We had a scare in June, and we had to put the building on lockdown until we could figure out what was going on. Thankfully, it was just a student who made a pretty foolish decision, and we took care of that. But for a while, when you don't know things, you're in a lockdown, and the heat is ungodly in that building. So the windows are closed, but not all of them lock. As Lisa said, they're from 1937. So, like I tell the community members, literally some of our windows are pre-World War II in that building. There are some updates in there, but it's become to the point where it's unsafe right now. So with this grant that we got, we are redoing the vestibule right now, which is the most important thing to do. But the silly point is when you enter our building, is all these windows are open.
Right.
So it's a lot to go through a regular budget. If you've seen the size of RV, it's very popular. We're really on an upswing. The school's doing really, really well. But we just need help, and that's what this referendum is for in September, to just bring us up, like I said, to 21st century safety and security for our kids and staff.
So there is on here, and everybody has a handout. I tried to give everybody information in the handouts. There's impact to taxpayers. There are 5 communities, so it is different for each community. This is outlined in here. It goes from a high of $78 to the low of $37. So it's between $7 and $3 a month, depending on the community you live on. Hainesport is $75
Per year.
per year, yeah. But I'm sorry, the only thing I want to say,
important, right?
yeah, it is important. The
$75 per year.
The really other important thing is if we don't do this in the bond referendum, it's the only way we can get the 40%. So if we did this to our regular budget in the next 15 years, we don't get 40%. So that is the only way that we can get that piece of this. So, do you guys have any questions? I do want to say, everything that you have in your bags, and there's a logo that says Vision 2020 Referendum. If you go to the website and click on that, it'll have all that information, and there's a whole Q&A there. Yeah. has the polling locations. It has the next 25 stops that we're going to be at, so my superintendent's presenting at some. We'll have Mr. Martin present at a few. And our board member, Mr. Fugger, is here. He's a Hainesport resident, so here's your representative from Hainesport. He's here this evening.
I got a
So,
couple questions. Mr. Mayor?
Yes?
Thank you. Welcome. It's nice to see such dedicated people. I'm going to ask you some stupid questions.
no
right?
questions are stupid.
Because people ask me these things. Okay, the vestibule. You're getting $1 million from the county. Thank goodness. That's great. How much will the vestibule cost in total?
$1 million.
So it'll cover it.
Yeah, it will cover it. The bid was about $879,000 for the contractor to do the renovations, and then, of course, we had to do some additional camera work and some other stuff, but yeah, the $1 million.
That's great. And I, too, think that you should get secure windows.
Yes.
Otherwise, you defeat the whole purpose of all this new security. That's great. Let me ask you a question. You said that normally it would take you 15 years to budget to do all this work, right?
If we could do it, but yeah.
All right, so you're doing it by way of bond to do it now, and that makes sense. Let me ask you this. Since you're not going to budget it for the next 15 years, do you think that we can get some concomitant savings because we don't have to spend the money over 15 years?
That's a good question. I can say we do regular maintenance every year in the budget, so like I was saying, we do the roofs and all those are good. I mean, since I've been here 8 years, I think we've done every roof in the building. So we're going to have just over the next 15 your normal increases. You know, we do have benefits just so you guys and our contracts, so we have to meet those every year, and we are in a 2% cap.
Right, I only say this because I looked at my tax bill, and I know this board didn't raise taxes last year. We're good, 0. In fact, I think we decreased taxes. But yet my tax bill increased $350. Not all this regional school, by the way.
Right.
It was some of the local school, too.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to wonder, geez, that's a good percentage of our taxes, and now we're looking at a new bond, which will increase our taxes some more. So I'm just asking you to go easy.
We hear you loud and clear.
Saving money with a bond, maybe next year you can take that into consideration and maybe not have much of an increase or any increase at all next year because you're paying for some of the costs of improvements that are going to last a long time, such as the vestibule. All right?
Yes.
That's my 2 cents of comments.
Thank you.
And I thank you again for your dedication.
Yeah, last June, you guys had an incident, lockdown. Since then, within the past 10 years, has there been any major incidents?
To be honest with you, I've worked in 3 high schools. I would say typical average, like, you get
What would
teenager stuff. When I say that, I mean like, no, never to the point where like a weapon where we had like a real weapon where we had to lock the building down. Whenever there is a scare, we reach out. Our superintendent will send out a mass communication to all the the school community members. We've had a couple scares. Like some of the biggest ones have been like things you don't know. Like years back, a student walking to a building. When I say a student's walking towards our building with a rifle, it sounds pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
It was one of our ROTC students not following protocol.
Yeah.
So you had a responsible neighbor calling up and say, there's a kid walking to your high school with a rifle.
It's probably my sister. She was in ROTC.
Well, guess what? That was in September. And again, do you remember tutorial earlier?
I remember
So
tutorial.
tutorial early in the morning, we're sitting there, our students, I literally was grabbing students and pulling in my room, a couple football players,
Aw.
big guys looking like little babies. I'm just putting them there, we're locked down. And, finally superintendent comes on the
Right.
loudspeaker and says that, somebody didn't make a wise decision, didn't what you're supposed to do, so I apologize for the last 25 minutes. But it was 25 minutes, which seemed like an eternity, of course.
Right.
But again, if you go down Ridgeway, just remember the C wing, the math wing over there. It's every window wide open.
Right.
There's no screens. They're not
I remember.
retrofitted for screens. So you have all the other stuff we haven't mentioned, bees, the pollen. It's been out of control. Somebody visits the nurses with asthma
Ooh,
and
yeah.
things. So it's just
And
it
there
just
are
seems like it's about time.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are studies about how learning goes down when the heat goes up.
Right, that makes sense. It's a beautiful
And all the
school.
standardized testing is late in the year, so, one could argue, I don't have the data how we would do if we were climate controlled, but when you try giving what we're park test now, it's called the NJSLA, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's hard for a kid to focus on a standardized test,
Were you there in 2005?
yes.
Oh, that's why I remember, yeah.
Well, he wasn't principal then. He was a teacher.
Well, teacher, yeah.
Yeah.
I recognized him either through not knocking on door or maybe it was high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, we haven't had, I've been there 8 years and we haven't had any major incidents like that. We had a student last year, I think, that had a tennis racket in their bag and all they could see was like the end of it and so somebody thought it was a weapon.
It's a false alarm, but
But it
again,
wasn't.
it's,
Wow.
so when I started teaching in the 90s, the late 90s at RV, there was probably more legitimate scares.
Yeah.
But I think Rancocas Valley's come such a long way in terms of
Yeah.
law and order, safety, and security. I mean, people walk around the building, they come and visit, it's like a library.
Yes.
It's just, the hallways are, just a lot of order.
It's a beautiful school.
Yep, yep, and we're just trying to
You're-
make it safer.
Yeah. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
I agree with you guys.
Claus, do you have any questions?
I just have one comment. By doing this referendum all this year, instead of spreading out over 15 years, there's a cost savings to, you're not going to have the cost increased over 15 years, which could double or possibly triple. So there is an advantage to taking care of it now at today's cost as opposed to increased cost in the future. So I would agree with that.
Thank you.
You would what?
I agree with-
Appreciate that. I have a question, and I don't know whether you can answer it or not, but when I look at the breakdown of the tax impact to the different communities, we're basically on par with East Hampton with regards to the number of homes that we have in our community and the number of residences, yet there's a large discrepancy with the total amount of the contribution. What else goes into this?
I noticed that too.
Students.
Yep, so because we're part of a region, there's ratables is really what it goes off of.
Okay.
So, and then that is a formula that's brought, the state actually does the formulas to send, and they send that to us when we do the budget to determine the percentages each community is responsible for. It is based on enrollment, it's based on high school enrollment, it's based on other people's enrollment, but what it really comes down to is evaluation of your homes in your community. So whether, it doesn't matter if you
The value of
send,
the home either, and this is, I'm asking this for a number of constituents that
Correct.
asked me already about it.
Yeah.
And it's also floating around on social media.
I'm aware.
I saw it.
So I'd
Yeah.
like to clarify.
Yeah, that is
what the
actually, it's a formula that is, the state comes up with the formula. It's not something that we calculate, it's not something we control, it's based on your on your ratables. So every year when I get the ratables, because I'm the one that calculates the tax impacts, I'm always hoping that your ratables are going up, because you always want your ratables to go up, because, even if we do, as you were saying, a zero tax increase or a zero levy increase, we can do that, but that doesn't guarantee that you won't have a tax increase, because if your ratables drop, your taxes could still go up. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying 100%, just sometimes that's out of our control, as is that formula. We don't control that, we just, unfortunately, I know it doesn't sound like a good answer, but that is a
no, I-
state-driven
Yeah.
formula, that is
I
something
appreciate
from
you
the
asking here,
state.
because I saw on social
Yeah.
media, it's hard to answer on
It is
electronic
hard.
communication.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
I
is.
tried to put the words like, think of your average system, not volume of students, because
Correct.
I ask the same question. As a taxpayer, I got my tax bill a couple weeks ago, right? And I see the local taxes, the high school tax, and I'm like, man, like Lumpton's got so many more people, we're only $3 less,
Right.
less a month than ours, but I think, look at, again, that calculation's based on the average home, so.
Well, the average home is close also, but it's really based on the total ratables in your community. And
So the ratables also impact the,
that's 100% all it's based on, really, when they do the calculation. So, unfortunately, we don't control that piece of it.
Deputy Mayor, I have one more question.
Sure.
You said the last time you had the windows updated were in the 90s?
Oh, no, well, no, I think the ones that we had that are the newest were from the 1999 bond referendum,
Oh.
or 98. So, right, you were probably there, right after,
So
and that
that's-
was D-Wing.
That was a long
So
time.
those are the new ones, the
And when they added
D-Wing,
the pack in the
pack.
back,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
D-Wing.
and we updated the library, just,
Bogert was?
yeah.
For what?
Or Bogert, wrestling coach?
No, he's A-wing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
But,
So
yeah,
that's a
so,
long time ago.
yes.
would you mind if I ask the audience
No.
if there's anyone else
Sure.
that has a question with regards?
Residents.
Marty,
You want to have them come up?
Marty, right there.
Yeah, Mark, Murdy?
I have a couple things I'm talking to you directly about, things that you guys probably did. Who printed this up?
Secretary.
Okay. here's big waste, you're only printing on one side, and everything's in color. It looks wonderful, don't really care about that. You just got done telling us this is all about ratables, then why is it saying on here and how much we make? The people in West Hampton, that their average home is $240,000, are only paying $56, whereas I live in Hainesport, and the average is $227. So that virtually has nothing to do with it. By your own statement, it's all on ratables, correct?
Correct, but
Okay,
that,
so this is garbage, it shouldn't even be in here, correct?
no, that is what the average taxpayer would pay in each of those communities based on their average assessed home, which is given to us by the tax
What I'm
assessor.
saying is, they're making a whole lot more money, but they're paying a whole lot less. Does that sound equal to anybody here?
They're paying a bigger percentage, it's just their ratables bring more money. They have more ratables so they can
That's what I
raise more
said, you said
money.
it's all on ratables.
It is.
You should have just put down, instead of how much the average home is, what each person in that township's gonna make. 'Cause that was really disingenuous. So I could increase. Huh?
Right,
I think that was for the increase.
it is, that is for the increase. For the year.
That's not what the average house is with the rate, but the.
What I understand what you're saying. You're only paying $56 more a month, yet I'm paying $75 more a month. For a house
For a
that's a lot
year.
less.
For a year.
Okay. That's one thing to start off with. You're telling us that they're doing really excellent maintenance all year long, but you've had windows there since '39 that don't operate correctly. So that tells me the maintenance isn't being done correctly. How much money, when you get the computers on the one-to-one service, is a computer company taking care of? I.e. Apple usually gives the school back a whole lot of money, so the school's not paying a whole lot for that. Can you tell me how much your computers that you're buying for, you're getting kickbacks from the company to help the school? Or are you paying full price for them?
There's no kickbacks.
Come on.
What I'm saying is you're not getting any discount.
Correct.
Talk to Apple, they're giving the schools a whole lot better deal than having to pay full price for it. Just, I know because someone went to Hainesport, I worked at Burlington County Special Services, both schools got a really good deal when they bought computers, especially when you buy a whole lot. Then the other thing that I really love, 40% of state aid. Who here does not pay state taxes, rate or pay? Yeah, those are not. So we're taking this money that we pay into the state and having the state pay us back 40% of the total thing. So in reality, we're paying 100%, the taxpayers are, because our money that goes to the state comes back here, correct?
Correct, but
Okay.
as I always look at it is if I'm a community member, because I live in a community, we just did a bond referendum, I want the 40% to come back to my community. I don't need the 40% going to Mount Laurel or Lenape or
I agree.
Bordentown. So that's,
I'd rather not
you
have any
know,
of it goes to the state, we all take care of our own specific area. And since we are sending a sender district to RV, I think we should pay for that. So that's not a bad thing. And then, why is this not being held during a regular election? Because it's been proven that you do stuff off year and off election year, it's kind of like we're trying to sneak this in, nobody gets a chance because voter turnout under a non-major election is very minimal. Is that correct?
we have done research with our professionals and we have determined that there's only 5 dates the school districts can go out for a referendum, and this is one of the 5 dates, and this was the one that the board chose and that we thought was the optimal. And we are giving the communities and an opportunity. We have 25, I think at least, stops in the next 6 weeks where we're presenting this at municipalities. We were at Kitchen 87. We're trying to go to different places in each community.
You're letting
at
people
an-
know as much as possible.
Yeah,
correct?
trying to get the word out.
25,
Yeah.
25 or 27 other stops you
Yeah,
have to do.
but such a valid point you're bringing up, because our consultants we talked to said, when you float the referendum out there, September, usually people are coming back to school, they're in school mode, it's probably one of the best times to do it. If you go towards election time, it turns, obviously it gets very, very political, and we didn't want to get our safety and security polarized by politics, if you will.
And I understand the safety and security. What kind of glass would be in the windows? Is it bulletproof?
No.
No,
Okay, so it's just double pane glass to keep the air and the heat. and-
with screens,
Yeah,
yeah.
and actually, I've been at the district, like I was saying, 8 years, and I have been trying, since I have been there 8 years, to get the windows. They wanted to, they'll look exactly the same, they're historic windows, but we haven't, there has not been, the board has not wanted to change the aesthetic and to do that. So it wasn't that we haven't, I mean, because it's been on my radar since I've been there. I've wanted to update the windows for safety and security. Just came through in the strategic plan that the community requested that.
So I think if you go to the window makers, you can probably get something that looks original, right?
They're going to look
That
exactly
won't be
the
flat.
same, yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, H?
Hi.
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 Because I'm old doesn't mean I'm against the referendum. I just have one curious question. Is that building secure right now?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and
You
what,
said that when you do lockdown, you can't lock.
yeah, so here's the deal. What it is the referendum, the bond that we're putting in right now, not the bond, excuse me.
The security
The
vestibule.
security vestibule we just got with the county grant, that is going to take us to a whole nother level. When you walk in the RV, have you been in there in a while? All right, so when you go in there, in the RV, literally what you do right now is there is a little tiny vestibule. I mean, say 6 by 8, something like that. But when you go, once you get across through, you're already in the building, you're in the hallways, and you present the T-Pass system with the license there. This new vestibule holds you, and it's a bigger vestibule to hold you in, and where you come in, where once was my office, right to the right, that's now like almost like a teller window, right over there, and attendance is right next to it, so no people come into the building per se. They don't get into our hallways or access to the general public area of the school because of that. So the forefront, this September will be the safest probably we've ever been. What's concerning now is the lockdowns. There's time, and seconds are time during a lockdown. With school shootings, it's a matter of seconds. So what we want to do is get the windows locked as soon as possible. They're tall windows. You literally have to hop on top of stuff to get on there and lock the windows. It's work to get them down there, and they're huge. And we're juggling what you just brought up the last thing. There's so many people to maintain the beautiful historical look of the building, which nobody wants to get rid of, to preserve that, and at the same time make it as safe as it's ever been. So yes, it's safe. I have my daughter that goes there, and I have 2 more boys are going to be going there soon. It's safe. I wouldn't send them there without it. This just takes it, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of experts, going to that, it's a whole other level of how quickly we can go into lockdown. On the news, we've taken and added another layer of security. We've seen zero eyes intelligence, of artificial intelligence. We're the first in the nation where our cameras can detect weapons. So again, to bring up a very sensitive topic, what happened to Walmart a couple weeks ago, our cameras at RV, only at RV, can detect the way the shooter had the guns out. If the guns are out, not if they're hidden, they can be picked up on that. So again, there's all these layers of security and safety, which we feel they take it to another level. But the windows are just the most critical thing, because it's impossible to teach with them wide open. So to answer your question, yes, but we can do so much better. Like, are we safe? The windows are open with no screens. And if there's a threat, we lock down as soon as we can, but once again, the windows are open.
Yeah, we have a multitude of layers. We have 2 SROs, we have security guards, we have the zero eyes, we have something called CRG mapping. Every year there's something, we have an app that we can actually lock down the school. If Joe or I were to get a call right now and say there was an issue, we can pull out our phone and lock down the schools from right here.
That's what you did last year on that day when that kid did something. I just take my phone out, we hit our code, just lock something.
No matter where we are, because,
So-
it's an app, so we can just do it from anywhere.
Just concerned about.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to put it that way, but our motto is, how can you not go from good to great?
Joe, one thing you guys just mentioned too, you have 2 police.
Yes, 2
Correct,
SROs.
correct. Yes.
I have a question regarding the rear of the building, the sliding doors
Yeah.
by the cafeteria. RV is unique in the sense that your students exit the building frequently throughout the day to go to the PAC or one of the other
Absolutely.
buildings. How are you securing the building if you're allowing access in and
Right,
out of
that's
the
a great
building
question.
for the rest of the day?
That's absolutely great questions. Our building's unique in that we're not just like most schools nowadays are built with the gym in there and whatnot. If you've been to RV, you know it's an open campus. On our main campus are 3 buildings, right? We have the back E building, which has what used to be called Industrial Arts Building, the music building, the gym facility, and our main building. So our doors are on timers that they open, all right? we have cameras now installed. We have almost 200 cameras in the
No,
building.
212.
212 cameras. Every camera that is one of our best cameras, digital cameras, are all the entrances. They're all manned by TV cameras and security staff. I literally polled the county. I emailed all the county principals. They asked if we have security teams. And I asked around. You'll hear 1, 2, an SRO. RV's got 2 SROs, 7 security staff members on there. They're at all the exchange points. They wear yellow shirts, or if they're not yellow that day, they'll say RV security. And they let people in those ways, in all of our doors. But you bring up probably the best point, and I told Dr. Heilig, okay, listen, there's 2 things we have to beautify and make safer. The backsliders essentially are our main entrance, especially after school. So, RV, school never sleeps. There's always something going on there. So parents and everybody comes into the backslider. So we just beautified it with a whole bunch of RV branding back there. But that's one of our best state-of-the-art cameras we have up there with the zero-eyes artificial intelligence back there. Plus, I don't know the last time you've been in there, but we've added recently a security desk in the back there where you have to get buzzed in the back now. That, I can tell you when I taught there, like there were doors open everywhere. It's just the facility wasn't shut down. So, and then by the gym going that way, there's security there, and the doors open, they're on timers, and they close based on the timers. But they're also manned with security and cameras.
Yeah, we're lucky in the fact that we have 5 blocks. We don't have a traditional schedule where there's like 9 blocks. So the doors are open every 72 minutes, so it's 5 times a day, which makes it no better. But during those times, we have security in key locations in the cross areas to go over to the gym, because we're aware we don't have the capability, because we cannot afford to do a tunnel. First off, we couldn't do that because there's so much stuff underground, under the parking lots. And it's not feasible because we need the parking lots and we need that space for the buses. So like we're really limited on our space and our footprint up there, and to do an overhead walkway is cost prohibitive.
So I think when the community spoke in 2016, these community engagement sessions, I think our board really took to heart what they were saying, and they ranked them. Our board went through, let's do this. And they've taken us to a whole nother level, our Board of Education. But now it's like, again, that good, great mantra, it's going to take us too long to get to where we should be safety-wise. We want to be up here. We're here. We're a safe school. Do you know what I mean? But to get here, why can't we go for that? And again, that's what we're asking for.
That's just a concern for me because, like I said, given the fact that there's so much in and out activity, anybody can slip right in.
Agreed.
You can have the best security available.
Yeah.
They're not going to know a person walking in out of hundreds of people, whether that person is a student that belongs there or not. So,
Yeah.
It's just something else that I have in my mind. My kids are not in RV anymore, but I worry about the kids that are there.
Yeah.
Like I said, given the fact that they're going to be moving in and out just as easily as they are, somebody else can too. And that's where you need security there as well. You need to put something in place to protect that from happening or prevent that from happening.
Thank you. No, thank you.
I think this one, Margie?
Yeah, I just have a question about the windows. This whole thing just freaks me out.
Yeah. It's a little morbid to talk about it, right? It's like
Yeah, really.
reality.
The windows, like you said, when you replace them, you want to preserve what you
Right,
have
right.
as far as the look of the building. But they're still going to be just as high. Are they going to be like an automatic lock type window? Or are they going to be locked at all times? Since
Not much
you're
easier to
gonna have
manage.
Well, we're gonna-
climate control?
Yes.
Are they going to be closed at all times and locked at all times?
That, as a business administrator, that's what I want to see, because I don't want them open with the air conditioning on. But yeah, that is the safest model. Is we've actually implemented that recently since I've been there with the doors. Just all the teachers just have the doors open because it's hot and they're trying to get air movement. We have them all shut the doors now. So it'd be the same thing. Their windows should be closed year round. There really won't be a reason for them to have the windows open.
And they'll stay locked. There won't be a question of you having to climb up to close them.
Correct, and I think they're gonna look, they'll look exactly the same, but they might function a little bit different. They may have a hinge on them so that you can only open the bottom, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
One more question here. let me tell you one of my pet peeves among governmental entities, not just your school, this board, any board, really. That is, we're juggling many different bond issues at the same time. That is, we're paying debt service on bonds that were issued, say, 5 years ago,
Right.
10 years ago, right? You probably have several. In fact, right now, you're paying on every month. Now, some of those bond issues, that bond debt will retire because you'll pay it off.
Yeah.
You'll make the final payment. Boom, that's great. We want to see you decrease the tax rate. We don't want to see you find new ways to blow the money, all right?
Right.
So I'm just making a
Yeah.
suggestion to you that your taxpayers expect you to be efficient and not find new ways to spend money if a bond is paid. And eventually, these things are paid. Typically, I think they're, 10 years, 15 years?
20.
20 years, okay.
Yeah.
And I know you got several going on. So that's my suggestion to you and my hope on behalf of all the
Thanks, Mr. Costa.
taxpayers that, New Jersey is becoming more and more unaffordable. You know that.
We know that, yep.
We have the highest taxes in the whole darn country. And it's getting to be that a lot of people just can't remain in their homes. They got to move out. So that's my suggestion to you. And thanks for listening to.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
your
us
time,
again.
and thank you for
Thank you,
coming.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your time.
And thanks for your questions, and no two sides. We got two-sided.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Lisa, can I clarify the time on the election? Isn't it changing slightly?
No, it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
7.
8 p.m.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's all day.
9, September 24th?
Yes, Tuesday, the 24th. So we are opening up an hour later than usual.
The building, it's 7 to 8.
7 to 8 for this election, correct. Thank you.
Correct.
Yes, 8 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right, the next presentation is with regards to Census 2020. Lorraine Alda Harris Copeland, she's a partnership specialist for Census 2020.
Good evening, Hainesport. I don't want to take your time doing a presentation to convince you to support the 2020 census. That's my job as a partnership specialist. I'll be seeing these folks every place because I have to bring every entity in Burlington County online in support of the census to achieve a complete and accurate count.
No, just to the end of the table, Scott, it's fine. That's fine. Good.
Take this microphone stand.
I think the most pertinent fact I need to tell you is there are 300,000 jobs in our region that need to be filled urgently. The census is a new model, a new design. This is the first time, even though it's been happening every 10 years since 1790, this is the first time the census will be offered online. We have the ability to shape our own future. 2020, we can shape our own by responding online. And if we do it effectively, census is trying to eliminate the enumerators, the people who come to your house, because it's the most expensive part of our operation. But the only way they can do it is if we agree to work from home in the communities where we live as representatives of the 2020 census. The jobs pay $16 to $22 an hour. Flexible, you can set your own schedule. If you can work 2 hours, census is good with that. And if you're willing to work 40, they're even better with that. The jobs are paid weekly. And if you need it, you can have health care. If you drive, it's 58 cents a month. And the problem is, why I'm here, is Burlington County is a hard-to-count area. Anyone who's from here knows that's very true. We're very skeptical. And the task of you as working for the census is to become trusted voices in your community. The theory is if people know you, and you go into the houses of people you know, it's a more comfortable fit. It's a special website, no application on USA Census has set up a special website, 2020census.gov/jobs. All you need to do is go there. It's a very short question, multiple choice questionnaire, asking you what have you been doing, what are you comfortable doing for the census, and do you want to supervise? Anyone over the age of 18 is eligible to work in this effort. Let me see what it's on the partnership. Yeah, I need you as a partner, so rather than beat it around, Hainesport, can the 2020 census count on you as a partner?
Sure.
I
Yes.
can't hear you.
I'm sorry, ma'am, can you repeat, miss, can you repeat that question?
Can the 2020 census count on the township of Hainesport to partner, as a partner? Would you be our partner?
Of course.
Partners motivate their constituents to respond, and you do the sort of activities and things that make it easier for folks to get on board with this. In the climate we're living in, the census is not political. It's just simply a count of people where we live. Every dollar, $675 billion, is distributed in the country, and it's based solely on this count. And it's as concrete as the schools. Children are probably the largest undercounted population. If you have children that are 0 years in their months or up to 5, if they're not counted when they enter school in 5 years, they're pulling resources from the children that aren't counted. The roads, the computations on how long our roads are supposed to last. The money is appropriated to us based on how many people were using these roads over a length of time. If 20% of the population is not reported, the rest of us are going to be riding on the roads that didn't last 10 years. And it's pretty much across the board. I'm from Burlington County. I was born here, I live here. I was not a responder myself, but it didn't seem to be a priority. But once I began to research and saw how we're impacting everyone, I would have done this for free. Let alone be an employee. It's critical to our own survival that we respond to the census. I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have questions? Yes, sir.
The website was 2020census.igov.
2020census.gov/jobs. And if you want to learn about the new design for the 20th century, you can just go to 2020census.gov. It has us pegged the demographics that are open to the public, that were hard to count. The numbers, it's no way to hide. And we're only hurting ourselves by not responding, going the easy way. It's going to be the hard way, the easy way. Please take the easy route this time. And we can get rid of the enumerators. Our future is in our hands.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Excuse me, does Sergeant want to speak?
If there's any questions.
Okay, so that being said, we're up to ordinances. Ordinance number 2019-6, amending Chapter 67 business licenses, is up for public hearing and final adoption. I'm opening it for public hearing. Anyone have any comments with regards to this ordinance? Seeing none, I'm asking for a motion to accept.
I make that motion.
A second.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Ordinance 2019-7, amending Chapter 161, Stormwater Management, is up for a public hearing. Anyone need to comment with regards to this ordinance? Seeing none, I'm asking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Ordinance 2019-8, authorizing acquisition of land, Block 100.07, Lot 2. This is a first reading and an introduction. The public hearing and final adoption will be September 10th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolutions. Resolution 2019-124-8, authorizing a lien for property maintenance expenses for property located at 1203 Washington Street. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Schneider?
Yes.
Was it Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-125-8, authorizing an issuance of a raffle license to Our Lady Queen of Peace Church. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-126-8, certification of the annual audit. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-127-8, authorizing an amendment to the Hainesport Township Employee Handbook to provide for cash handling policy. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes. George.
Mr. Costa? Ms. Schneider?
No, it was him then me. I just
Yeah.
called him George for some reason.
Okay. Mr.
I said
Klaus?
yes. Yep.
He answered to
It's
it.
on you.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-128-8, authorizing a lien for property maintenance and expenses for the property located at 15 Bancroft Lane. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore? I'm sorry, Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
I'm having a hard time tonight,
It was the
guys.
George thing.
I
Sorry.
apologize. Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-129-8, authorizing a lien for property maintenance expenses for the property located at 2 Wharton Place.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-130-8, authorizing cancellation of outstanding checks. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-131-8, to award a professional services contract for the engineering services for the CY19 Hainesport Road resurfacing project. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-132-8, canceling unexpended balances of the General Capital Fund in the Township of Hainesport, Burlington County, New Jersey.
So
Do I
moved.
have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes. Yeah, whatever.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-133-8, a resolution accepting recommendation of the Township Planning Board regarding the boundaries of the proposed area in need of non-condemnation redevelopment pursuant to the New Jersey Local Redevelopment and Housing Law, NJSA 40A 12A-1.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-134-8, amending Resolution 2019-120-7, authorizing the issuance of a raffle license to Our Lady Queen of Peace. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2019-135-8, authorizing street lighting for Rancocas Avenue. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second that.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. We're now at the time of the meeting for comments from the public. Any comments from the public? Mr. Murdy?
My name is Mark Murdy, 2614 Creek Road, Hainesport, New Jersey, 08036-2706. I just had a question on the last one you have, plus I have some other ones also. You want a resolution 2019-133-8, resolution accepting recommendation of Township Planning Board regarding boundaries of proposed area and need of non-condemn. It doesn't say what the property is. Did I miss that somewhere?
It does in here.
Mr. Taylor?
So the area that's referenced, if you look at the map that's behind you, at the planning board, at the joint land use board meeting last week, the joint land use board determined that the areas identified on the subject map met the statutory criteria, and it's basically the properties that are bounded by Route 38 in the location of the former vacated Industrial Avenue, backing up to the industrial properties that front on Berry Drive. In both June and July of 2019, the Township Committee authorized and requested the Joint Land Use Board to undertake that study to determine whether or not those properties met the statutory criteria to be considered a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment.
Okay, thank you very much. I hadn't been paying attention. I just came in and saw this, so that's why I asked, and it wasn't there.
Sure.
I haven't been here for the last probably 3 or 4 weeks visiting family, and that's fine, that's on me. But I noticed my pine tree is dead on the front of my yard between the street and the sidewalk. And I looked, because every time I have a question, they say, please get your deed, so I have my deed. So the deed looks like there's the edge of the pavement, and then there's a space, and I can't tell you what it is. If I could draw probably a correlation, I'd say it's around 20 feet before my property line starts. There's a giant pine tree there. It's about 30 to 40 feet tall. It's indeed looking like it's really dead because all the needles are dead. So when it falls down, it will either fall across my power lines, the power lines that go across the street, fall across the power lines across the street. I'd like to have that removed, as the city has already removed 3 other trees in front of my property. So I'd like to see about getting that done. The next thing is, and this is on behalf of my neighbor, and she doesn't know I'm doing this, but I am. She's a senior citizen also, and on Sexton Avenue, which is a paperwork street between her house and my house, or her property, and I guess it's my property because the city obviously owns it, because if you don't do anything, they'll take it away from you. But that's besides the point. If you don't pay your taxes, let me reiterate that. So while I'm borrowing this property, between the 2 houses on Sexton Avenue, there's a tree that's been there for quite a while. It's past my property by about 25 feet, and about the same for hers, because that paper street is 50 feet wide. It fell down during the last storm, and I was in California, didn't see it. Came back, it was raining really bad, couldn't get back there to do anything with it. She called up, and someone had told her, we don't take care of that. That tree fell down on your property, it's your responsibility. So I'm really upset, because if my tree fell into my neighbor's house and landed on their car, who would be responsible? My neighbor? For parking underneath where my tree's gonna fall down? I'm thinking not. So I'm very upset with that. I'm very upset with the treatment she got on that. And since the tree broke about 3 or 4 trunks up real high and came down, obviously it's gonna die. And I'd like to have that removed so it doesn't happen again, and put her out and myself out, because my son was home, the 2 of us cleaned up the mess. It's all in front of our house right now. We've got all the way across my property is filled up with this tree that was blown over. So the guys that come and pick everything up, they do an excellent job. How long does it need to be? As long as you want it, I pick up with a car and put it in. And I know everybody else has had garbage out now, so it's going to take a while for him to come down. That's not on him. It's just where the tree lives, between the edge of the pavement and my property line. And like I say, they've already taken 3 out a few years ago. The stumps are still there. That's fine, I don't care. But it just doesn't seem to be good. And then when we're going through the resolutions today, I noticed 1, 2, 3 resolutions where they're authorizing a lien for property maintenance expenses for property located blah, 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 all three of them. It seems that we can charge people for not keeping up their property, but it seems that the people who live here have no recourse to come back against the city and say, please take care of this eyesore, this dangerous thing that's going to happen, and try and get something resolved. So that's where I am today. Thank you very much for your time. And also, the people who did the presentation, they did a really good presentation. I just had to throw some things in there. But the bottom line is, evil doesn't pay attention to any laws, so whether you're supposed to be there or not, and they did a good job on that.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Seeing none, have comments from the administrator?
I have a few. The audit report for 2018 identifies no deficiencies, material weaknesses, or instances of non-compliance. Our past CFO and staff have all contributed to another year of excellent internal controls and accounting compliance. After a 2-year hiatus, the HitGo project is resuming with the remedial investigation thanks to the $77,000 supplemental grant that you all authorized previously through NJDEP. Our assigned LSRP is going to begin installing 3 new monitoring wells for sampling at the end of this month. Once these samples are collected, the reporting will be executed and then sent off to DEP, and at that time, we should have enough information, have a full report on the level of contamination, remediation scenarios, and the governing body can make a decision on how to proceed with this property. I would like to thank the Burlington County Department of Roads and Bridges, specifically Johnny Janis, for providing Hainesport with a shared service by fixing the storm pipe at 1609 Edwin Street to the corner of Edwin and Broad. Apparently, this has been an issue that has been brought to Hainesport Township since the 70s. It has lived through many different administrations and governing bodies, so we have finally fixed this situation with that thanks to a shared service with the county. They also repaired a catch basin in front of the Hainesport School, which was evident by 2 sinkholes, which was reported to us by a resident who was jogging in the area. This shared service saved taxpayers approximately $24,000 and also expedited the work by about a month.
Great.
And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from our solicitor?
Good evening, everyone. I'm covering for John Gillespie, who's away this week. I have nothing to add other than I enjoyed my visit, and if you guys have any questions, I'll stick around after the meeting.
Thank you. Comments from the committee? Mr. Costa?
Oh, good evening, everybody. I thank you for coming. I just wanted to tell you about my satisfaction in seeing my tax bill and knowing that we did not increase taxes this year. All the tax increases came from those other governmental entities, including the school district RV. It's been a great summer. Have a good duration of the summer. Thank you.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes, so I believe it was Sunday, you guys, you were at the concert in the park?
Yes.
Good turnout?
Yes.
I saw it from afar.
Fantastic.
I saw it from afar because I was walking my dog, and I looked, when I work out.
Out of your phone?
I did not. How close was it?
Very nice.
Wow.
Filmed it.
You what?
I filmed it.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. So that was a good turnout that I saw from afar, and I'm happy that people are coming out. It was beautiful weather, and I am also very happy about the street light that we're going to have on Rancocas Avenue, because I happen to live on Broad Street, and it kind of comes to a point and goes straight to the state park, and they've been asking for a street light for a long time, and it's very dark back there, and a lot of them have children and animals, and I really made it a point to help get that through so they could be safe back there, because it's very dark. And that happened tonight. So, it was a resolution tonight. But, so I'm happy about that. That's it. Thank you for coming out tonight. And have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out. This Friday is the senior prom, and I'm proud to say I'm a senior, so I'm going. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun time, anybody who's going. It's going to be at the firehouse, and Movies in the Park is August 23rd here, so I'm looking forward to that too. And thank you all for coming out.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to thank the first responders and the Public Works for their help during and after the recent storms we've been having. The town was hit in certain areas much more than others. It took some time for certain areas to get addressed, and with the help of out-of-towners that responded and our local response team, they did a fantastic job. They're still cleaning up some brush, I know, but it's been a bad couple of storms. I was also happy to see that one of the firefighters passed his course, and that there are 2 new cadets, so to say, that are going to be entering fighter
Sworn in,
school.
right? Paula sworn in, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm also very pleased that I'm finally getting to see some results with regards to our community action with trying to get businesses to come into town, and that right now, although I can't speak with specifics, there are several new businesses that are coming to town, both utilizing buildings that are existing, and perhaps there's been some interest in some land and developing some land, and it's exciting to see the climate change and things start to come together again. So hopefully in the next few months we'll be able to report specifics. We've got the new restaurant that came into town. There's been interest from, I believe there's a Bobcat company coming to the old Trailorama type of thing. So the Hitco property now is coming along. I might see the light of day. I've been listening to that property since I first moved to town 16 years ago. With regards to that, Paula, the Costco, the administrator, and I have been going to several meetings with regarding brownfields development and cleaning up and utilizing those properties that have not been able to be reused in a more productive manner. We're going to be going to a convention in Philadelphia next month to promote some of the areas that we have available, some of our vacant lands. We're trying to promote to the marketing on the brownfields with money that's available, clean up on our website to encourage other realtors and developers to come into the community, take a look at what's available here in Hainesport, and bring ratables to town. So I'm just very encouraged with the activity that's been going on in the background. I know you only see us up here voting on resolutions, on ordinances, taking care of the daily bill lists, that type of thing, but there really is work going on in the background that you all don't see because we can't talk about it until it comes to fruition. It kind of ties our hands, but I'm confident that things are moving in the right direction, and I'm very encouraged, and I'm excited about things that are going to be happening in the next several months. Anyways, after saying that, let's pay the bills. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved. Second that.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.